My name is Decimus Prime, and I am here to deliver an urgent message. In the year 2043, a man going by the username AlLovesMilkies420 inputted the wrong command into his AI real-life replica girlfriend. Typing the message, "Yes, mommy, destroy Al's balls," was autocorrected to, "Yes, mommy, destroy all balls," thus leading to the eradication of all spherical objects on the planet, including the Earth itself. Humanity, hear my call. Ban autocorrect AI, or all shall perish.
So quite often I sit around and just daydream about video games, thinking about all kinds of different topics, like how they affect our mental health or our personal development, how we connect with certain stories. But there's been one thing lately that's really been sticking on my mind, and that's AI. I mean, we've been seeing it everywhere, whether it's in artwork, whether it's in just random image generation, or watching past presidents play Minecraft. It's everywhere. It's perforating every edge of society. Now, we've seen advancements in AI technology with Unreal Engine 5, but that's not really what I'm looking at. At least that's not really what I'm thinking about. See, I don't want to know the next step. I want to know the next 3 steps and then past that. Where are we headed? I can't wait, and I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait to see the lines start to get blurred. The line between fantasy and reality. I'm ready for shit to get weird. If this is your first time to Legendary Drops, welcome. My name is Ian. I am a marketing major that for some odd reason works in construction. That's just kind of how the job market works. So I want to preface this conversation with any of the ideas that I explore or the topics that I bring up are mostly conjectures. This is more of a thought exercise than it is anything else. We're using the power of our imagination, historical data, and what we've seen from AI technology so far in the direction it's heading to try to draw some of our own conclusions. So let's get at it. Our very basic understanding of how AI is used in video games today is mostly limited to things like procedural generation, NPC movement and reactivity, game physics, and their uses in the general development of games. In games like Path of Exile, Diablo, Minecraft, No Man's Sky, we see procedural generation in their world building and map creation, AI adapting tile sets to create a unique world for each player to explore. We see NPC movement and reactivity from the enemies in your first-person shooters, your opponent's cars in Forza, or in the various monsters in games like Divinity 2 or even Pokemon. Over the last few years, if you've been online as long as I have, you've bore witness to major developments in AI, especially with something like Unreal Engine 5, where developers now have the tools to be able to streamline their workflow, create games at a much faster rate than they ever have before, create accessibility so smaller developers actually have access to those kind of tools, and on top of that, make games more beautiful and detailed than ever before. From the perspective of most gamers, we found that the AI that we've experienced to be, well, a bit dumb. This is mostly due to just limited programming. We have to keep in mind that the behavior of AI in video games is programmed by the developers. Those developers must choose and create rules that limit the AI's behavior. This means that AI may not be able to perform certain actions or react to certain situations that a human player could. Meaning that if an AI is programmed with a limited field of vision or a reaction distance, a player could just sit outside of it and attack the enemy with them unable to react or find a solution to the problem. Currently, AI in video games may not have the access to the same level of context that a human player does. This means they may not be able to understand the significance of certain actions or events that are happening inside of the game world, which can lead to, well, seemingly dumb behavior. AI in video games currently is limited by their behavior and decision making, leading to very predictable and extremely repetitive actions. This is something that sometimes can feel a little bit less intelligent and far less engaging for the player, kind of breaking that fourth wall. Currently, game-controlled AI is limited by their learning capabilities. AI in video games aren't able to learn and adapt to a player's behavior in real time. They just follow a predetermined set of rules and attack patterns, which usually leads to less intelligent and less dynamic interactions with the player. Now, in most cases, this is something that's purposefully built in because, well, games are built for us to win, not for us to lose. Learning a boss's attack patterns in, say, World of Warcraft or Elden Ring is part of the gameplay, finding solutions to problems through memorization and strategy. We have to keep in mind that there's a lot of technical limitations with AI today in all the video games that we play, as a lot of these constraints are made by processing power and limited memory. But those are things that are going to end up kind of solving themselves in the future. So now that we've kind of discussed some of the uses of AI in the games that we play today, and we already kind of have a little bit of an understanding of things like ChatGPT or StableDiffusion or just generally where AI is currently headed now, why don't we start talking about what future AI is going to look like in the games that we play? The impact of AI on the future of gaming is something that is both significant and far-reaching. AI technology has the chance to revolutionize not only the way that games are developed, but even the way that games are played. Heck, even the fundamental way that we experience games as we play them. AI will be used to create more intelligent and responsive NPCs, which is something that's going to lead to far more engaging and immersive gameplay experiences than we've ever had before. No more 2 or 3 dialogue options leading to 2 or 3 different outcomes. At some point, players are going to be able to fully converse with an NPC, asking any question that they want, getting all of the information that they can, and ask questions that aren't preordained by the developer. To visualize this, I like to think back to the first time I ever played Mass Effect. It's one of my favorite games of all time. When BioWare described the narrative and how players' choices would not only affect the game that they're playing, but also the games in the future, my imagination ran wild. I believe that every single choice, every dialogue option, every decision I made had significant impact. That someone I saved today, or that kid that I told to keep fighting, later in generations his family would grow up to become leaders or something like that. Everything I did, I felt had purpose. Now, I know this might sound a little bit ridiculous, but if we're looking at the technology that's available today, where we have ChatGPT and even Replica, we can see that this is the direction that we're actually headed in. We're soon to be talking to the NPCs in the games that we're playing. I think this development, this future development, is something that's probably going to come sooner rather than later. It'll probably be the first one of these major AI developments that we're going to see in gaming. Which brings me to the idea of personalized experiences. With the use of AI in games, we're going to be able to personalize every individual player's experience. Based on our gaming preferences, playing style, skill level, orientation, probably even kinks. You know that there's going to be some wild stuff that's made, and honestly, the more I think about it, I think that just because of the nature of AI as it is and the customizable options games will have in the future, we may end up seeing some type of new gaming rating system entirely, where the rating systems are actually going to place limitations on the game for how much they can show or how much options or player choice that game actually has. Anyway, so imagine this. You're playing your new favorite RPG in the future. The game knows that you travel a certain path or a certain area frequently. After completing a few prerequisite quests, unbeknownst to you, you start hearing some NPCs whispering about strange things in the forest. You pay little mind, continue on your way, traveling your typical route, and you notice an object, something that you've never seen before. You know it's unique because you've been through this area 100 times. You interact with it, and it begins a quest. That quest takes you to a boss fight that knows your playing style. It's adapted to fight you and challenge you. You kill it. You get a reward, and it isn't some generic legendary item. No. It's an item tuned and themed to your individual player style. Think if you played a warrior. You love a big-ass sword. You love fire damage. Throughout the game, the AI notices that you lean towards the biggest sword models regardless of their damage. You use fire damage on enemies that aren't weak to fire just because you like it. The AI knows this. It bakes it into the game, and it pops out the biggest fire-aligned sword it can. An experience, a quest, and an item that you and only you experience. As AI advances, we're going to see that games, especially open world games and RPGs, have these insanely intense narratives that form to every single choice that we make, every person that we interact with, every stone we kick over, every village that we pillage, whatever it might be. It's something that, as an ARPG lover, as an RPG lover, I am ecstatic for. Now, one of the other things that I start to imagine as well is a world in which we get to play an MMO one day that every single person that levels has a completely different leveling experience. We experience a completely different side to a large overarching story, depending on what area that we hail from, or what race that we pick, or what weapon that we choose. Now, while it's fun for us to discuss the inevitable changes that are going to be coming to video games through the use of more advanced AI, I also think it's worthwhile to have a discussion and be conscious of the potential, well, repercussions of using such emerging technologies in the future. See, I don't think that there's anything we can necessarily do about AI. The cat's kind of out of the bag with that. We just kind of have this weird habit of making science fiction science fact. But I still believe that there's some value in at least being conscious of the negative repercussions. Similar to something like addiction, where, knowledge doesn't necessarily save everybody, it does still save some. One of the things that I'm sure will become an issue is AI's fixation with negative stereotypes. It's a computer. It wants to categorize. It wants to organize. It's a prime directive of sorts. We've seen it with Bing. We've seen it with that weird Jerry Seinfeld cartoon on Twitch. It's a computer system that is adapting to just general information that it's pulling from its audience and other resources. To add to this, depending on how deep these games will learn from players, it depends on how much they can actually affect our experience. Games may become far too homogenous with a user's beliefs, creating a game environment that may reinforce whatever kind of real-life biases they may have. I mean, one of the best things about all of the media that we're exposed to is that there's always something new and unique. There's all these new and unique experiences that are molded from experiences of 10 to hundreds of people that put work into the games and their narrative. As society's dependence on AI grows, I'm wondering if the unique expression that's usually found in games starts to fade. What if we're not exposed to new ideas? We don't see solutions to problems outside of our own. Games will continue to give us problems for us to solve, molding to our intellect, rather than providing a general experience for most people. Alright, so maybe I'm going too far. Maybe I'm looking too far into the future. But I will say that one of my major concerns is that companies are just going to be able to learn far too much from us than they ever have before. They're going to be able to have all of this data that's collected by the AI, and they're going to see all of our interactions that we make within video games. They're going to learn all of our tendencies, our moral systems, our habits, how we solve problems, what attracts us, and more. All on a much deeper level and more personal level than, say, a few online searches or a couple posts that we made on Twitter. Learning how a player plays a game and interacts with a narrative is like having a mind's eye into how our brain works. I mean, as a marketing graduate, I can already see the potential benefit in being able to learn players' habits, especially their spending habits while they're inside of a game. I'm sure this is already information that's being collected from people that are using like in-game shops, doing microtransactions and things like that, but imagine collecting data on a far greater level, changing the way that gold actually works inside of a video game, creating low points and creating high points, and seeing how players actually adapt and react to those situations. Putting different things in different stores in the game, not microtransactions, regular transactions, and seeing when they buy and when they don't buy. See the items that actually motivate them and what don't motivate them. There's a lot of really valuable information to be able to pull from players. I can wholeheartedly say that the future of gaming is looking incredibly bright, very bright, my friends, indeed. And there's a lot of things that I didn't cover in this video. There's a lot of different ideas that I just didn't dive into. So this is a really good opportunity for you guys to be able to drop a comment down below and let me know some advancements that you guys would like to see in AI and video games in the future. There's a lot of things that we should look out for, a lot of things for us to be concerned about. However, at the same time, it is what it is. There's not really a whole lot that we can do with it. We just kind of have to live with it as it goes, right? while a lot of this like audio and image and video AI stuff is super cool and those advancements are awesome, I'm really just looking forward to the ones that actually really impact me and the games that I play. So anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. I think every single video I talk about how crazy the channel has been exploding lately. We're up to 6,000 subs now, which is wild. By the way, that's been like 2 months. The channel's like doubled or tripled in like 2 months. You guys are literally insane. We picked up 3 new channel members, so I'm going to go ahead and shout them out.
Cody Coco, Jackie, and DC3.
If you guys would like to get shouted out at the end of a video, please become a channel member. I just added emotes and sub badges, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, stay righteous, stay cool, and stay safe. Love you guys. See you next time.